the Caped Baldy, Medaka Kurokami, Adam. What do these characters have in common? Well, it's pretty obvious. They are like gods among men, within worlds with many superpowered individuals, some of which have the power to destroy the world as we know it. These three characters stand above them all, not just with their charisma, a unique sense of style, but their overwhelming and raw sense of power. But despite their godlike status, there's one thing that prevents them from subjugating and ruling over their fellow man. And that, my friend, is the fact that they are still human, in heart and soul. They have the ability to destroy everything, but they actively choose to help others, not for personal gain, but because they see it as the right thing to do. In a way, they are the pinnacles of what humanity has to offer, beings everyone should strive to become. However, each of these characters achieved their status in different ways. Medaka was born into her role with her abnormal amount of reality-bending powers. Saitama overworked his way into a status with determination, and Adam was specifically created to personify this status. However, with how similar these characters are, what would happen if they came into conflict? Would Saitama finish them in a single punch? Would Medaka still win, like her role as protagonist demands? Or would Adam's love for his children deliver him victory?
Everybody's always asking me that question, and it seems now you are too. Is it hatred? Or revenge? Why does it matter? That's irrelevant. Is there any man alive who needs a reason to protect his very own children?
Humans have more or less been around for 300,000 years. In the grand scheme of the world's vast ecosystems, humans have been less than a footnote in the planet's history. However, in terms of overall change and influence we've had on the world, few creatures managed to reach our level. Humans aren't the strongest, fastest, and we lack the biological capabilities of most creatures in the world. But we make up for it with intelligence, the ability to analyze a problem and come up with solutions, the ability to create stories, artistic works, build large structures, and harness the power of the world itself, whether to help it or destroy it. However, despite our boundless accomplishments and the limitless potential to grow, we've yet to truly understand the world we live in. So many secrets yet to discover, so many celestial powers yet to harness, and most important of all, so many weaknesses to the human body. With all these downsides to our existence, all our struggles to claim and understand the universe and our own existence, it seems almost impossible that one managed to reach this state before we even discovered fire. An individual who existed since the beginning of the universe itself, came to understand all there was to know, and even possessed the power of God himself. They never cared about making any new discoveries, advancing humanity to new heights, or even understanding the depths of human capabilities. Why? Well, because in his mind, he had everything anyone could ever want. A peaceful life without any worry or sorrow, and the strength needed to fight for what was right, even against the gods themselves. This individual is, of course, the man every human strives to reach, the man modeled after God's image, and the pinnacle of human perfection, and the father of humanity itself, Adam. As the progenitor of humanity and the second person to commit sin, Adam basically represents humanity incarnate in both his perfection and flaws. However, Adam was also specifically modeled after God's image, and thus takes on their characteristics. So while Adam is indeed human, he's also technically a god. As a result, Adam's physical capabilities are, let's just say, far above what humans capable of. Now, in order for me to emphasize just how powerful Adam is, I have to compare him to the king of gods, Zeus. Why? Well, because it's been shown and even stated multiple times that Adam's relative to him in speed, strength, and durability. In terms of strength, Zeus at the very least is able to destroy planets, as he's relative to and probably even stronger than Thor, who is capable of defeating the world serpent, which we all know is close to the size of planet Earth. Another example was his ability to overpower and frighten Shiva. Shiva is the god of destruction in Indian mythology, and within the series he's been stated to be the destroyer of worlds. It has the capacity to destroy and recreate everything. The fact that Zeus can make Shiva hesitate to stand up against him may show that his strength is too much for even him to handle. Most impressively, Zeus defeated his father Kronos, who was the personification of time itself, showing how Zeus can even destroy concepts with his sheer physical strength. Their ability is even more clear-cut. Zeus has been implied to have witnessed and tanked the Big Bang explosion, which generated 10 to 68 joules of energy. That's like way bigger than a nuke or something, I don't know. By far Zeus's greatest asset, however, is his speed. In a casual state, Zeus was already capable of launching light speed punches. He somehow could go even faster and launch punches which surpassed light speed. One of them went as fast as an attosecond, which for those unaware is a unit of time so short that light barely has time to travel from one end of a water molecule to the other. However, this all pales in comparison to his strongest attack, the fist that surpassed time. As the name implies, this attack moves so fast that time itself ceases to matter. It literally surpasses the concept. Seconds, milliseconds, attoseconds, those shortages cease to exist. The shortest measurement of time possible is a Planck instant, which already breaks our understanding of physics. But Zeus is so fast that I'd be hesitant to even call it speed. If an attosecond barely gives light time to travel across molecules, and a Planck instant breaks and distorts the very laws of physics, then just how fast would Zeus have to be moving here? The closest equivalent feat is the Flash's trans-time velocity speed, which also surpassed units of time measurement, and allowed him to cross one end of the universe to Earth at speed so instant that he literally outsped instant teleportation. Even the gods couldn't witness or observe this level of speed, and a lot of them should be relative to or as strong as Zeus. It's kinda unbelievable that anyone could match blow for blow with this old geezer. However, there is one man, and this same man even surpassed Zeus on many occasions during this battle. Adam, the father of humanity itself, is like if Zeus was fighting a much younger and harder version of himself. Like I said earlier, every single one of Zeus's feats are feats Adam is fully capable of replicating and dishing out. With strength, Adam can clearly generate enough force to hurt Zeus, the same dude who has planetary durability on a low ball. If Adam can hurt Zeus with his punches, then at the very least he can generate punching force equivalent to or stronger than the Big Bang explosion, which kinda sounds a little insane when you think about it. Adam's speed, surprisingly, is even greater than Zeus's. He on every occasion dodged the King of Gods' light speed blows at point blank range. He then proceeded to dodge every other strike, each of which moved faster than light, including the attosecond strikes, and most impressively, the fist that surpassed time. Adam would then counter Zeus with an attack of the same level and power, showcasing how his speed can also reach these ludicrous heights. The way Adam can replicate these feats, despite being human, is due to his signature ability, one that was granted to him after being created in God's image. The eyes of the Lord, special eyes which analyze and replicate any godly technique Adam lays his eyes upon. The instant an attack is sent Adam's way, the eyes of the Lord sees it, processes it, and then Adam can throw that same attack back at his opponents with the same speed and power. On most occasions, Adam can even surpass the capabilities of the original user. Godly techniques aren't all that can be copied. This ability can apply for any foe he encounters, whether they are a god, human, or monster. Now, the most impressive aspect of this ability is the speed in which it processes information. Remember, the fist that surpassed time, an attack which moves so fast that it's way beyond the smallest measurements of time. Well, this same attack is said to be unobservable even by the other gods. You could look really hard and never even notice so much as an atom twitch. Zeus activated this technique mere meters from Adam's location, and in theory, he would be dead faster than your dad leaves for milk. However, despite this, the eyes of the Lord not only activated within this interval of time, but then proceeded to process the ability and send the information back to Adam's brain. Adam then dodged at point blank range, launched the same attack back at Zeus, and spoke a full sentence, all within a span of time so short that existence itself doesn't register what happened. This showcases how the eyes of the Lord can witness and process information faster than the concept of time itself. How powerful is Adam overall when he combines his physical prowess with his optical ability? Well, it at least puts him in league with Zeus in his Adamas form, a transformation which concentrates all his physical power into his strikes. Every punch in his form is said to be a one-shot kill, and many gods like Shiva insinuate they can destroy the very heavens. The world, records of Ragnarok, is split into 3 dimensions, or planes of existence, consisting of heaven, earth, and the underworld. We can assume heaven is just as large as the universe, since that would be a pretty logical conclusion to come to. Meaning if we lowballed Zeus to an extreme degree, each of his punches is packing enough power to destroy an entire universe, or at the very least, planet. And Zeus was putting his all into his strikes, so you can't say he was nerfed or something. So that's why it's incredibly impressive that Adam took these punches straight to the face and still managed to throw the exact same attack back at Zeus, hurting them in the process. They then matched blow for blow with Zeus, spamming planet to universe-busting attacks as if they were a stand-in JoJo. However, in the end, Adam still lost, and for one simple reason: he was still human. While yes, he could dodge Zeus's attacks point blank for extended periods of time, Adam's body would eventually still give in, and his eyes would burn out from the strain of fighting for so long. However, even upon his very death, his body still chose to fight on his behalf, showcasing how despite the odds, a father will still fight for the sake of his children.
世界は平凡か？未来は退屈か？現実は適当か？安心しろ。それでも生きることは劇的だ。
Talent is everything. In a world that strives for perfection, hard work can often help people achieve their goals, though of course blood, sweat, and tears is a liberating feeling when all the effort you put into bettering your skills pays off, opening the door to limitless possibilities. However, there are some cases where hard work results in nothing beneficial. Sometimes, despite our efforts, we don't amount to the expectations we set for ourselves. However, there exist individuals with immense talent in certain skills or trade. It's not like they don't put effort into becoming better at a certain skill, but it's more like certain things come easier to them than regular people. Something that'll take years to master, they could pick up in a few months. And sometimes the gap they create in their skills seems impossible to overcome. Now imagine that you live in a world where those who are talentless and those who are talented are exaggerated to an immense degree. Now imagine that these individuals are so talented at something, or so talentless at something, that they manifest as supernatural powers. Well, you don't have to imagine, because in the world of Medaka Box, this phenomenon is a common occurrence among the youth of the world. You see, in the world of Medaka Box, an individual can become so talented at something that their talents become supernatural in nature. These supernatural abilities are called abnormalities, and for those that possess talent much greater than others, they are referred to as pluses, and they take on different forms depending on the individual. Some abnormalities allow you to heal your body at an accelerated rate, manifest and control electromagnetic waves, reflect damage back at opponents, and much more. However, talents aren't the only thing that can manifest different abilities. In fact, a talentless individual can also gain an abnormality called a minus, an ability gained through hardship and the struggles one faces in their life. Instead of externally stretching out the user, they externally change the world around them. Again, minuses are born from one's hardship in life, and as a result, instead of bettering themselves to change the world, they use their minuses to instead force the world to fit their vision of how it should be. Minuses and pluses are incredibly powerful, but are often restricted to a singular individual. Many people's experiences are radically different, so it's not often that you see an abnormality duplicated somewhere else, much less copied. However, just like every other phenomenon in our world, there's always an outlier. From birth, Medaka Kurokami is what you might deem an abnormal. Well, scratch that. Calling her abnormal does a disservice to her strangeness. It would be better referred to her as an abnormal among abnormals. Since Medaka's birth, she had the ability to pick up on skills and concepts better than everyone around her. It's not to say that she was a quick learner, but more like she mastered anything she set her sights on. She never struggled in her life. Ideas and theories people spent countless years trying to figure out, she solved herself in a few seconds. She would learn skills and talents others worked tirelessly to master and perfect to its utmost limit in mere moments. Calling her a prodigy would be an insult to the limitless potential she seemed to possess. However, when one is so gifted at everything they do, it's bound to destroy the morale and self-esteem of those around her. For a while, Medaka would share a pessimistic mentality. What was the point of life when she never struggled, never worked for anything, and never aspired for anything? However, that was the thing. Medaka was so good at everything that there was no skill or passion behind the skills she mastered. She could make everything perfect, but without passion behind them, it was essentially worthless. Medaka would have gone down a path of nihilism and self-hatred if it weren't for the influence and encouragement of those close to her. Friends who helped her understand the value of her existence and the purpose her life was meant to fulfill. Perhaps she wasn't abnormal because it was some kind of sick joke. Maybe she was abnormal because her purpose in life was meant to elevate others, reform those who felt lost and without purpose, and serve as a symbol for the heights of their own talents. Perhaps that's why Medaka's abnormality has the fitting title, The End. The End is Medaka's main ability, and the power allows her to essentially copy and master any minus or plus she witnesses. Since Medaka's entire existence revolves around mastering and perfecting any and every skill or concept she came across, the End behaves in the same way. Once Medaka observes any kind of abnormality for a brief period, she can then perfectly duplicate it. However, her ability is not just simple duplication, no. Instead, any ability she copies is actually better than the original, as Medaka can bring the abnormalities she copies to 120% of its potential, meaning the skills she copies are vastly more advanced and stronger than the original. Not only can she do this, but she can also use them all at the same time, ensuring that she can overwhelm her opponents with a variety of abilities. Some of the abilities she copied includes Encounter, which reflects any physical and mental damage away from her, regardless of its speed and power. Scar Dead, which allows Medaka to reopen any wound, no matter how old it is. Ice Fire gives her the power to manipulate fire and ice, plus any phenomena that results from it. Medaka's body can automatically dodge any attacks without her having to think about it. Bookmaker lets her nerf any opponent down to her level, in terms of speed, intellect, and spirit. All Fiction lets her permanently erase anything from existence, just with a thought. Medaka also copied millions to billions of other skills from Hajimu Najimi, some of which include forcing opponents to let her attack first, the ability to create an entire universe, the ability to travel through dimensions, and so much more. She copied so many pluses and minuses, in fact, that I doubt she's aware of them all. She theoretically has an abnormality for every conceivable situation. All these abnormalities are complemented by her insane physical feats. She can casually move faster than the speed of sound, with her often creating dozens of after images and breaking the sound barrier on many occasions. Hell, even sound couldn't keep up with her casual movements, as she disappeared long before any sound went off. It's been stated that Medaka could potentially be light speed, but that was quickly dismissed. Her physical strength allows her to break metal with her bare hands, tear down giant metal doors with ease, and destroy a good chunk of her surroundings simply from moving. Don't underestimate Medaka's intelligence and quick thinking either, as there are many occasions where she succeeds at an almost impossible task, even within an incredibly small window of time. She can enter workout mode, which doesn't necessarily increase her strength, but does make her a lot more aggressive overall. At the end of the day, Medaka is still human. Despite everything I mentioned up until now, it's constantly reminded to us that our body struggles to keep up with her level of power. But regardless, Medaka Kurokami is a formidable force to be reckoned with, and it's no wonder that even gods like Hajimu Najimi don't bother to fight her. Humans are, of course, fragile creatures. They are small, weak, and prone to get hurt easily. That's why they are ideal targets for our only natural predators of the world. Monsters. Beings that have existed long before humanity, and strive to see them wiped off the map. So in response to this new threat, humans work to improve, to grow their strength and willpower to ensure that they wouldn't be easy prey and protect their fellow man from danger. Heroes, the physical manifestation and embodiment of humanity's will to survive. However, to become a hero, one must put in the work, to hone their skills to an insane degree and push their bodies to levels never seen before. We've seen the results of such actions in the form of heroes like Super Alloy Darkshine, Flashy Flash, The Gay Guy, Atomic Samurai, Bang, and King. However, dedication and obsession can also lead to certain individuals to transform into strange monsters based on the subject of their obsession. So clearly, human willpower alone has the potential to elevate even the most ordinary of people and outgrow what we consider normal. However, there are some unique cases that don't fit the hardworking and obsessive mold and got this vast level of power handed to them, and ironically, these are the most powerful among the heroes of the world, casually busting mountains and even cities if they wanted to. However, there does exist a hero who vastly exceeds the level of power of those who value skill, and those who are granted power. The man who sought out to be a hero more than anyone else, and put in the work to achieve it. Even if his body crumbled from the pressure, this man, this hero, isn't like the others. While everyone I mentioned before still put in the work to get where they are, this man did the same, but unfortunately did not receive the recognition for his years of effort. Well, I'm of course talking about Mumen Rider, the greatest hero of the modern age. Oh wait, I was talking about Saitama, the Caped Baldy, otherwise known as the One Punch Man, the strongest man the world has to offer, and even the universe has ever seen. Saitama's main power is, well, not only can he lift giant buildings like they're nothing, but he's consistently beat most foes with a single punch. Whether they embody a concept of nature or chaos, it doesn't matter. He'll defeat them in one punch. Nothing can withstand these punches, regardless of their level of power, unless they are planetary or have powerful healing factors. For foes with higher body ratios, he will need to up his power a little bit, but only really by 1%. Saitama's series is capable of destroying the moon of Jupiter, and even the Earth itself. Hell, a casual sneeze destroyed Jupiter, which is millions of times more massive than Earth. The punches seem to deflect non-physical attacks. Boros, a being whose attacks is claimed to destroy the entire surface of the planet, is pretty much nullified with one serious punch, meaning the serious punch had to be exerting a similar or superior amount of force. When it comes to speed, Saitama can keep up with and even outspeed Speed of Sound Sonic, who can move at the speed of sound. His speed feats become even more impressive when he keeps up with both Monster Garo and Flashy Flash, two characters whose speed approaches the speed of light. This speed also applies to his eyesight, being able to see and catch things moving too fast for most to see. Saitama can tank pretty much anything you throw at him, such as when he casually takes nuclear bomb explosions to the face without any visible damage, and when he tanked his own serious punch, which again has enough energy to destroy the entire Earth. One of the most impressive feats is taking the impact of crashing into the moon almost instantly, which could only mean that he crashed into it at the speed of light. This happened a second time when he crashed into the moon of Jupiter instantly, which was caused by the recoil of his serious punch. He still dodges attacks too, but only because he wants to keep his clothes from being damaged. Now the origins of Saitama's power has been fully revealed in the series, with Saitama attributing his godlike status to his brutal work schedule. But the brilliant Dr. Genius has come up with his own theory. In the world of One Punch Man, individuals can get stronger with the repeated action of a physical activity or practice. The more they train and hone their skills, the stronger they get. Everyone has a different rate of growth, but one thing that stops them from eventually becoming gods in their own verse is the possession of what is called a limiter, a metaphysical concept that controls the power level of certain beings. No matter how powerful someone may get, once they reach their growth limit, they cease to get any stronger. Think of it like a max level in a video game. It's possible to surpass your limits, with Garo repeatedly doing so until he became a being of immense power. But every time he broke his limits, a new one would form for him to conquer. Saitama has no limits to overcome. He doesn't even have a growth limit to begin with. He removed his limiter entirely, which in a way gives him infinite reserves of power to tap into. Bringing back the video game example is like somehow breaking the level cap of a game to become a level so much higher than everyone else. This is all a result of Saitama's hard work and dedication, constantly pushing his body past their limits, until eventually he was rewarded with his infinite potential. In his fight with Cosmic Garo, Saitama was probably pushed to his limits. Garo could tank serious punches to the face, an attack which has been shown to casually swat away planet-busting attacks. However, Garo still couldn't do any damage to Saitama, despite the fact that in this form, he had strength many times stronger than his previous forms, and strength similar to Saitama himself. Garo was also overwhelmed by Saitama's speed and strength. Despite this, Garo believed he could take on Saitama just by copying his techniques and limit breaking. However, there was a problem. Saitama was breaking his own limits much faster than Garo ever could. Not only did Garo say that Saitama had no limits, but had a growth rate that was so monumental that Saitama reached a level so much higher than Garo could ever reach, to the point where he tried to run away. Not only is Saitama powerful, but he can quickly pass the power levels of anyone even remotely close to him, just by fighting them for a few minutes. It's like he's having a training arc mid-battle. Saitama's face even turned back into its cartoony appearance, which only really appears when he's faced with an opponent that he could destroy with a single punch, showcasing how much more powerful he was compared to Cosmic Garo. This entire conflict really showed Saitama's broken limiter in action. He's now stronger to a point where he likely one-shot or one-punch a version of himself from the first couple chapters. Saitama's ability to surpass his limits also indicates that even if he fought someone stronger, he'd eventually surpass them in strength if he faced them for long enough. In chapter 151, after engaging in a fight with Light Cord, Saitama proceeded to get destroyed by a Tiger level threat, but after taking a punch directly to the face, he gets back up and proceeds to one-shot the opponent, which demonstrates his exponential rise in power in a few seconds. Saitama is called One Punch Man for a reason. Even when facing a foe much more powerful than he thought, he can quickly surpass them and defeat them in a single punch. It makes you wonder if he'll ever get a true opponent. Well, perhaps he will, in the near future. So, right now, I know what you're all thinking. Medaka is immediately getting blitzed and one-shot by Adam and Saitama before she even lifts a finger. While it's true that in terms of speed and strength, Medaka can't hold a candle to these two characters, I wouldn't count her out just yet, because Medaka still has some tricks up her sleeve to turn the tides and even the odds through the use of her many abnormalities. One of Medaka's best abnormalities she could use in this battle is the skill First Move, which as the name implies, allows Medaka to attack first the minute the battle begins. With the First Move now active, Medaka has a plethora of choices she can make to win the fight. She can use Bookmaker to nerf Adam and Saitama down to her level, allowing the battle of physical prowess to be more fair, and Counter, for example, will make sure none of their hits would affect her, reflecting the damage back at them instead. Hell, some of the attacks might not even connect due to her auto reflex skill that automatically dodges any attack sent at her on pure instinct alone. She can erase them from existence or erase aspects of their existence from the world using all fiction, a skill that very few have counters against. Medaka can reopen old wounds on an opponent, causing them to get damaged over time without her having to lift a finger. Let's not forget that all fiction can heal her from any damage inflicted and automatically revive her if she dies. Her War God mode will allow her to go ham on both of them with nothing holding her back. Let's not even forget that it's likely that she has thousands to millions, even billions of other abnormalities she copied from Majimu Najimi. One of them might be a skill that automatically makes her enemy into an ally. So it's entirely possible that the fight would end before it even began. So it's safe to say that Medaka has an entire toolkit of different abilities she could use against both Saitama and Adam. And due to her genius intelligence, battle prowess, and the ability to make these skills 120% greater than the original, she essentially has infinite amount of ways to mix and match her different abilities and completely overwhelm her opponents, never giving them time to counterattack. So with all these hacks Medaka has at her disposal, it's safe to say that Medaka Kurokami takes the W, right? Well, not quite. Her hacks may be powerful, but Saitama and Adam are no slouches, and both have their own ways to counter Medaka's overwhelming set of skills. Now with Adam, there are ways a fight could go, depending on one core factor: whether or not Adam can copy abnormalities. Abnormalities are supernatural abilities, but they are also a manifestation of one's talents or personality. With Adam being the perfect human, he should be capable of every talent known to man. That combined with the eyes of the Lord could theoretically mean that Adam can copy each and every one of Medaka's abnormalities the minute he lays his eyes upon them. And unlike Cosmic Garo, Adam will be incapable of getting overwhelmed by the sheer number of them, due to the faster than time speed of his copying. He'd see, analyze, and copy every abnormality the instant they are activated, and due to his fighting style of launching a copied attack before an opponent, he wouldn't just copy the abnormalities, but use them on Medaka before she uses them on him. First move, Ice Fire, and counter, Medaka will never be able to utilize them properly, because she herself will be under their effects. The worst thing that could happen is Adam using all fiction to erase Medaka. Adam could easily make the fatigue of his optical ability into fiction, giving the eyes of the Lord an infinite time limit. If we assume Adam can't copy abnormalities, then this should be an easy win for Medaka. Even if Adam blitzed her, she could revive herself infinitely until the eyes of the Lord burn out, allowing her to one-shot him afterwards. Either that, or she just erased him, or his eyes, with all fiction. Saitama's a bit of a weird case. While yes, Medaka could erase him with all fiction, or nerf him with Bookmaker, there's an aspect of Saitama's character that could make him immune to her skills, and that is his nature as a gag character. Okay, maybe gag character isn't the right word. Saitama isn't like Popeye or a Hanna-Barbera character, where they can bend reality depending on what they think is funny, but there's no denying that there are a ton of gag character elements going on with Saitama, which could indicate that he leans more towards that side of the fictional character spectrum. What's the evidence for this claim? Well, there are several. First is Saitama's work routine. Yes, as several characters state, this being the secret to his strength makes no sense. There are several characters in the verse who work just as hard and even harder than Saitama and go through similar life and death situations, but they don't even come close to his level of power. Next are instances where he's hurt by mundane objects like a cat's claws, as that shouldn't have happened, no matter the circumstances. Saitama's able to breathe in space like nothing, and then proceeds to talk in space despite there not being any air for a sound to travel through. I don't care how strong he is, that just doesn't happen if he simply had enhanced physical abilities. Saitama then repelled himself through space with a fart, because he happened to eat beans earlier that day. Saitama grabbed and interacted with hyperspace gates, despite them not being tangible objects. Saitama's clothes survived a nuclear bomb explosion and a gamma ray burst. Saitama was completely unaffected by Garo's deadly radiation. And finally, Saitama knocked on and punched his way into a pocket dimension Phoenix Man had created inside his suit, and even Phoenix Man was confused on how that was even possible. But why did I bring all this up? Well, there's evidence that indicates that Saitama may just ignore all of Medaka's abnormalities. Bookmaker will be swatted away like a fly. Encounter will be torn from her body like paper. All fiction will be chewed up and swallowed. I know I may be gassing up this potential aspect of his character a little too much, but the evidence is definitely there. I forgot the fact that there's a precedent that Saitama can copy abilities as well, so he could potentially copy some abnormalities and then use them against Medaka. However, if my theory about his gag character status is wrong, Medaka would still win rather easily. When it comes to Saitama versus Adam, Adam is clearly superior in terms of speed and potentially attack potency.
Distract target. Then block his blind jab. Counter with cross to left cheek. Discombobulate.
Because of this, Adam would absolutely demolish Saitama as soon as the theoretical fight even starts. Hell, Adam would likely toy with Saitama, dodging every one of his blows and shrugging off any attack that happens to land. Adam just has astronomically higher feats than anything Saitama has showcased. We might as well call Adam One Punch Man. Once Adam activates the Fist of Surpassed Time, Saitama would have no way to react. However, if the fight were to somehow drag on, that's when Saitama's growth would kick in. His stats would very quickly rise, until eventually he'd not only match Adam, but potentially surpass him. But there's still one big issue. The Eyes of the Lord will likely adapt to Saitama's growth rate, since it can instantly scale with attacks that border on infinity. So in the end, Adam would still take the W. So to recap, Saitama will likely get taken out first. Against Adam, he's outmatched in terms of physical stats and will be one-shot in literally less than a second. Against Medaka, Saitama will be overwhelmed by her insane number of abnormalities, some of which can manipulate reality. Plus, it's borderline impossible for him to defeat her because of all fiction. With that said, I don't see a scenario where Medaka wouldn't easily win. From the conclusions I've made, she just has way too many hacks at her disposal to ever truly lose. I had to do a bit of mental gymnastics just so Saitama would have a chance. In most cases, Saitama has no way of dealing with Medaka's the end, and the power of her pluses and minuses, especially if she just erases them from existence. That's why, when unstoppable forces collide, Medaka Kurokami takes the W.
Hey buddy, you need a ride? I was just on my way to the big doofus convention.
Remember, abnormalities are simply a supernatural manifestation of one's immense talent. Adam, being the perfect human, should be capable of every talent in existence. That's not even accounting for the eyes of the Lord, which you can copy any divine technique. Abnormalities should theoretically be ranked lower than the abilities of literal gods. All it simply means is that Adam will copy every abnormality Medaka has and then eviscerate her with them. And with the power to analyze and copy techniques faster than the concept of time, there's no way Medaka would have any chance of beating the father of all humanity. That's why, when unstoppable forces collide, Adam takes a W.